sit. This is Hunter, and this is Hunter's roadmap to success. This is a bully stick. He really wants a bully stick. Come on, let's come up here. I'll hold it and you chew on it a little bit because I need to have a handsome dog in this video. I'm not good looking enough to be in this video by myself. Okay, he's like, nope, I want it all or I don't want it at all. Okay, that's Hunter. All right, so Hunter is a really well-behaved dog, and so I skipped a lot of the stuff we go over on my sessions. We did go over marker words. His marker word, the Guardian's been using really with good timing, and there were a few people actually say good boy, and they say it at the time. A marker word should be used the instant the dog does the thing that you want, unless the thing you want has duration, like potty. So when we were clicking in the video above, we were clicking at the end of the splash. And so that he peeled out there. So we're clicking for him not getting up and pacing around. And so that's when you want to use the click or the marker word. Now, since we introduced a clicker, I'd like the Guardians to walk around the house with about 20 treats or pieces of kibble. Click, give the dog a treat. He doesn't have to sit, lay down, or do anything. He really likes that bully stick. And then walk it a couple steps and click again, give him the treat. You want to do that about 6 or 8 times with about 20 treats so that when he hears the click, he's like, I'm about to get a treat, either a pet or a treat like this. This is also Stewart's freeze-dried beef liver. I call it crack because dogs really fiend for it. He really liked those as well. And then the Tricky Trainer's chicken liver flavor. And then I had some Lotus, I think lamb tripe that he really liked. So having a higher value treat than the cookie treats that you use would be really important when you're doing the counter conditioning exercises that we had there. He's gonna go bury it somewhere. He's like, it's such a high value thing. He's gonna bury it. He's a smart puppy. He's gonna save it for later. The economy is a little shaky, so you gotta save your bully sticks. Okay, so let me see. I also went over the importance of rewarding desired behaviors, and I call that celebrating. So every time that Hunter comes to us, sits down, looks us in the eye, lays down, drinks water, poops, goes to the dog bed, on his own, we want to say good boy, and then either pet him or give him a treat. And if you're laying on the couch and he goes and lays in the dog bed, it's too far away, you just say good boy. But as much as you can, you want to reinforce it with a treat or a pet. Now, if you want to teach him to go to the dog bed, show him you have a treat, and come up with a funny name for the dog bed. Hawaii, Jamaica, whatever it is. So when the dog's looking, and make sure the dog's looking in the direction of the dog bed, say Hawaii and throw the treat on the dog bed. When he steps one paw or more on the dog bed, say good boy or click, then he licks up the treat. Wait for him to vacate, get his attention, do it again. Do that about 10 or 15 times. And then after a while, you'll be able to motion to the dog bed and say Hawaii, and he goes to the dog bed, then you say the marker word, then you give him the treat. At first we throw it to entice him to go there, and then we say the word, and then he goes there, and then we reward him for doing that. So you can do that, same thing for water. If you want to use happy hour, which is what I say for my dogs to get him to drink water, every time Hunter's about to drink water, say happy hour right before he starts lapping it up. When he gets done, say yes, or good boy, or click, and then pet him a little bit or give him a treat. After a while, you can say happy hour, he'll go drink water, and he'll make everybody laugh at the next engagement party. Let me see, what else? So celebrating is the watchword I use for each other. So if I'm sitting here and somebody says celebrate to me, I just turn to the dog, say yes, and I pet him under his chin or on his chest. And I don't need to know what it is. After a while, I want to try to be mindful of it. So I see him going to drink water, I'm going to say happy hour before he starts to drink the water. A cue needs to come before the action. Now, if you're saying the cue over and over again, sit, 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 and he's not sitting, you're actually training your dog to not listen to you and to not respond to the cue. So you want to just say the cue word one time only if you're 90% certain he's going to do the action. If not, you saving it for later, buddy? There you go. Good boy. So that's celebrating a recall. He just got done burying his bone in the shrubberies, and he came over. Let's see, I'm gonna wait for him to SIT. And if he SITs, I'm gonna say his marker word, and I'm gonna reward him. But I'm not gonna, that reminds me of that. I'm not gonna tell him to do it. You could do that and pet him for that as well, but I would just like to pet and reward the dog when they volunteer to do things. Now right there you saw him shake it off. When you're doing the video stuff that we did, the stuff we did in the video, the counter conditioning, and he shakes it off, shaking it off is a way of dogs relieving tension. It can be. So every time he does that, I would say good boy and pet him. I want the dog to feel good about releasing that tension and that anxiety. We're gonna wait and see if you can figure this out on your own, buddy. Now I can tell him to SIT and he's a well-behaved dog. He'll do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you get in the habit of rewarding your dog when it voluntarily does the things that you want, after a month and a half, you'll just do it automatically, and now every time you pet your dog, it becomes a micro dog training session that happens without you even being aware of it because you're just kind of used to it. Now the flip side of that coin is what I call teaching manners. And so every time that he comes up, he paws at you, If he nudges you for attention, he's saying, hey man, give me some attention, which is not the worst thing in the world, but he's not necessarily doing it in the most polite way. So when he paws at you, says, hey man, give me some attention, say, would you like to ask for that again? Sit. And if he sits, then I say, good boy, and then I pet him under his chin. I only say it once. If he doesn't sit, then I just kind of lean back, check the stock market, look for a company to invest in, do some art, play guitar, whatever it is. So I'm not going to punish the dog, but the dog is not being reinforced. Anything a dog is doing when you pet them or right before you pet them is what they think the pet is coming for. So let's start doing it for the more desired behaviors. He's already a really, really well-behaved dog, but again, you can do it for stretches, for drinking water, for going to the dog bed, eating food. If you want to teach him to eat his food, which we'll talk about now, say the word meatloaf or lasagna or whatever the word is right before he eats, and eventually that becomes his command cue to eat. Now, his food is left in the bowl all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. He's one dog, it's not a big deal, but he is only eating once in the day, and he's eating later in the day. And as an older dog, it would be healthier for him to eat a little bit earlier in the day, and then maybe later in the day as well. So what I would do is I would leave the food out, the instructions I gave were leave the food out tonight. Tomorrow morning, or tonight after he eats his food, dump the remaining food empty and put the empty bowl back down. Tomorrow, when it's time for breakfast, eat yourself, and then when you get done eating, or before at the same time, probably after would be probably better, put his food in the bowl and then tap the bowl and invite him over. Don't over encourage him, he knows what it is. And if he chooses not to eat, as soon as he leaves the room, pick up the bowl, dump it empty, and put the empty bowl back down. And then there's no food again until the next meal. If you want to feed him 3 times a day, do it during lunch. And then if he does the same thing, dump it as soon as he walks away. We don't want to dump it when he's there because that could potentially become resource guarding. He has no resource guarding problems. Let's make sure that we don't contribute to it. And it's not a punitive thing. If he doesn't eat, that's fine. But in the wild, dogs spend up to 90% of their time looking for food. So if he doesn't eat and leaves food there, something else is going to take, the raccoon's going to come and take that food. And then when he comes back, he's not going to have it. So we're going to kind of mimic that inside. And that'll also help later on. He's going to have surgery. What if he needs pain meds and he needs it with his food? So that's something where we can make sure that we don't have to doctor his food to get him to eat. Let me see. We also talked about a little bit of mental stimulation. He is not a super high energy dog. He gets plenty of exercise. His guardian is doing a great job of that. But we could maybe feed him out of a snuffle mat for his meals. Now, if you're going to use a snuffle mat, I would first transition to the point where when you put the food down, he eats it. One other little tip for food. If I'm feeding my dog a cup of food for breakfast, and he eats, now he's decided he's going to chew the bully stick. He went and got it out of the bank. So if I feed my dog a full cup of food and he eats a half a cup and he does that consistently for a week, I might feed him a little over a half a cup. I would prefer to get the dog in a habit of cleaning his plate, but I don't want to necessarily make him eat extra. If he's saying a half a cup is fine for me, that's fine. I feed him a little bit more. If he leaves a couple kernels, that's fine. But keeping a dog weight healthy can be really beneficial for longevity and things along those lines. Now, he's a little bit of an older dog, and so I was talking to the guardian. I recently put myself on glucosamine, which is helpful. It helps build up the gel packet between your bones, and it helps especially if you get up and you're kind of stiff at first, and then after you get going, you kind of loosen up. A lot of times for dogs, I recommend glucosamine or Cosequin, which is a glucosamine supplement for dogs. And I usually get it with MSN or with chondroitin. And you can get that on Amazon. They're like little meat pills. You give it to them, and they'll usually eat it like a cookie. And you give them, like, for a dog his size, you probably give them 2 or 3 of those a day to start off, and eventually go to a maintenance dose of twice. If after you've fed them the whole bucket, whole container, get like 90 pills, or 30 days worth or whatever. And if at the end of the pill it doesn't look like it's changed, it won't affect him, because it doesn't help all dogs. I'm not seeing him first thing in the morning, but for a lot of dogs his age, it really can help, and it just has a little bit of our quality of life. Let me see, what else did we go over? You're gonna dig in the fake grass now. Now he's looking for another place to hide the bully stick. Is there anything else I want to go over?
You did food, you did the pool training, you talked about
mental stimulation and
other
celebrating.
dogs, maybe.
Okay, yeah, for other dogs. So if you do want to introduce another dog, so there's a high energy lab that's a member of the family that comes and visits from time to time. He loves splashing the pool. He doesn't like people being in the pool, especially when Dad's around. Now, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if he cares about the lab being in the pool when Dad is not here, because it seems like when Dad is not here or Will's not here, and there's one other person, then he doesn't really seem to care. So you might want to actually have them come in on a day when the other people are away and see how he does. Maybe he doesn't care. That's actually good practice. So if the black lab could jump in the pool and go crazy, and Hunter doesn't really care, then he's practicing kind of being relaxed about that, then that's fine. If that's not the case, if he does get worked up when the black lab goes in the pool, have the black lab come over, exercise the black lab first, which I believe the guardian of the black lab did, but the black lab puppies have a lot of energy till they're about 2 to 3. Then let him go play in there while we take Hunter out for a nice walk, take him up to, God, what is that? What's the place I'm thinking of, Brentwood, that has Rose Creamery?
The Country Mart.
Country Mart, yeah. Go up to the Country Mart for a little walk. Just take him out and get him away so that way the black lab can splash around the pool and spaz out for a good half an hour to an hour, then come back. Now you might want to get one of those corkscrew tethers, put it over here in the grass with maybe a 12-foot lead, and that way after a while we could, if the black lab can be there, make sure it has some shade, but that way if Hunter doesn't want to hang out and the black lab's being a spaz, he can move away from the black lab can't get into the pool. That can help. Now, if you're meeting dogs on walks, face to face is very difficult. It's most advanced, and it can be confrontational for dogs. Dogs typically meet kind of like in a T shape or a circular shape, and they sniff each other. So if you're walking and there's a dog that's really boisterous and you don't think that Hunter's going to do well with him, try to walk around a car or a shrubbery or something and use that to block his visual sight. Now, if a dog's reactive at baring his teeth or growling or any of those things, he's saying, I disagree or I don't feel comfortable. I want that other dog to move away. Well, dogs are very front-facing. So if he's kind of growling at another dog and you turn to walk away or cross the street, you took care of the situation. He doesn't have to raise his level. Now, the guardians here do a really good job. They don't punish the dog. A lot of people will correct their dogs for growling and punishing. The dogs will learn, that's fine, I won't growl anymore as a warning. I'll just go straight to a bite. We like the growl. Now, if you do want to meet another dog, I would go for a walk around the block, a couple blocks, and let the dog sniff. Maybe have human, and the dogs on the outside. So this way they have a joined, shared experience. They both saw each other, they smelled each other, they heard each other, but they didn't have the pressure of having to play. They weren't in a confined area. They were moving forward, which helps dogs process things. And then after maybe a 15, 20-minute walk, then you go into the area and see how they do. And just like us, dogs don't like every dog that they meet, and that's totally fine. Sometimes the energy is not compatible. We talked a little bit about possibly adding, the family was considering possibly adding a puppy to the mix. So if you do decide to get a puppy, let me know, because we have basically our puppy classes, we don't have them here, we have them in the Midwest, but one of the things we do is we send emails to our puppy parents every single day. Here's a link to how to teach your puppy sit up, down, and stand. Here's a force-free kennel training. Here's how to teach them to drop and not to bite, potty training, and so on. I'm happy to sign you guys up for that. And we can set up a 1-hour, we call it a puppy head start, kind of a crash course on having a puppy. But if you do get a puppy and you find one of those breeders or a rescue that has puppies, again, take a towel, wipe your don't do it after a shower. Do it when you have a little bit of your aroma, your natural scent. And wipe a towel, wash your hands first, wipe your towel, put it in a Ziploc bag, and grab a bag of treats, go over and give that to the breeder or mail it to the breeder or the rescue, whoever it has. And then what they could do is they wash their hands first. They present the towel with your little hand towel with your smell on it to the puppy. It smells it. They say a marker word, or they just give it a treat from their other hand. Repeat that about 5 or 7 times. Now the dog is smelling you and learning your scent without you being present, and in the comfort of where the other puppies are, so they feel nice and secure. And you do that a couple times a day for maybe the week before you're going to go meet the puppy. And then when you do meet the puppy, go to pick up the puppy if you can, go over there, meet the puppy, have it, and if it's been smelling it, probably is going to be happy. Play with it a little bit, then let it go back to the whelping box with its litter. And then maybe you go out to dinner, come back, meet the puppy again, and again, play with it for a couple minutes. When it kind of calms down, put it back in the whelping box. And if you're getting it from a breeder here or a rescue here in LA, try to go back the next day and then do the same thing. Go meet him, let him play, let him go in the back box, go get breakfast, come back, meet him again, pack up his stuff in the car, put him back with his puppies, and then grab him one last time, and then you take him away. So now it wasn't you came and grabbed me and took me away from the litter. I got to meet your scent first for a week, and then I got to meet you in person. And each time after I met you, I got to go back to the safety and comfort of my siblings. I felt very secure. And then I meet you again, and you give me the safe treats, and you're petting me, and I just love you. And then eventually you take me away, and I feel very secure with you because I've developed a good relationship. Now, Hunter doesn't need a dog like that, but I think it will help him feel a little bit more comfortable, especially when there's a little bit of a change in the dynamic in the home. But also it helps keep Hunter more alert and alive for longer. The puppy will learn from Hunter, and Hunter's a really well-behaved dog, so it'll really be beneficial. And then that kind of carries the legacy of Hunter over. Hopefully Hunter lives till he's 17 or 18, but eventually Father Time is undefeated, and eventually that puppy can actually kind of celebrate, and you have a remembering of Hunter with the puppy. So we got many years for that, so we don't want to get into that part, but something to consider. And if you have any questions on puppyhood or anything else, please let me know. If I don't hear from my clients, I assume that everything's going great. So if you do have questions or problems or things are not working when we go over the counter conditioning with the sounds or anything else, please text me. I do this with a lot of my clients. I don't charge for that. I want to help you. And if I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going great. Hunter. Here, buddy. Did you really leave the bully stick over there? Wow, I'm impressed. Well, this is my buddy Hunter. Isn't he a beautiful boy? And this is Hunter's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it. Right, Hunter? Yeah.